Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into chapter 6, part 2 of Faith Under Fire, Betrayed by a Thing Called Love. Everything that I'm saying in this video is in my opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. The Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107, gives me fair use to this book review that I'm doing for my commentary, and there's a little bit of research, okay? So let's get into it. So Stephen was in the hospital another 4 weeks. LaJoyce's brother, Stevie, stayed to help her get the house fixed up and a way to help Stephen navigate the space. By the time Stephen got home, LaJoyce said that her emotions about the truth had been settled. And when he was brought home, LaJoyce soon learned that while Stephen was telling her to go shopping, he was actually going through one of his demented episodes. Because when he got home and saw all of the credit card bills, he flipped all the way out. He cussed LaJoyce out for going shopping, spending all his money. He called everybody he knew and told them that LaJoyce was trying to KILL him. LaJoyce kept telling Stephen that he told her to go shopping because he said that he was going to file bankruptcy. Stephen said that that was a lie and it didn't make sense because why would I tell you to go shopping when you know I'm not going to be here any longer? He said that she was buying all of that stuff so that her and another man can enjoy it and sit around and call him a sucker when he was gone. LaJoyce told him, "You told me to do all of this, Stephen." Stephen tells her, but it wasn't a done deal. He said that he needs to get away from her. He wants to go stay with his godmom Martha and DIE where it is warm. And LaJoyce couldn't believe that he said that. She asked him, what about his doctor's appointments? And she wanted to know who would take care of him because even though Godmama Martha was a nurse, she was older and she would not be able to take care of Stephen the way she had. Stephen told her that those doctors would do a better job than her because those bills were stressing him out. He threw the bills in LaJoyce's face and asked her, "Where's the fur coat you bought?" LaJoyce told him that it was still at the shop. He told her to return it. She said, "You know what? I'm returning everything, all the gifts and the gift certificates." LaJoyce gathered everything and set the stuff by the door and she went upstairs. Stephen stayed up talking to LaJoyce's brother, and he was still up long after Stevie went to sleep. When LaJoyce got up, she could not find the gift certificates, and to this day, she didn't know what he did with those gift certificates because there were only a handful of people who visited them on a regular basis. And so she asked Stacy and Claudette about them, but they were like, "Stephen didn't give us any gift certificates." LaJoyce thought about things for a while, and she faulted herself for not recognizing the dementia in Stephen sooner. He started to lose all his motor skills and his mental capacity, and LaJoyce said that it was tearing her up inside, so she decided to write a letter to the family to apologize. She wrote the letter on January 31st, 1995, and in the letter she said that it was quite ironic that she was writing the letter on that day because that was the same day that her and Stephen met in 1990. She told them that she did not mean to cause Stephen any stress by going shopping. She was just doing what Stephen asked her to do. She said that she might look fine on the surface, but deep down it's a severe panic, fear, and loneliness. She told them that they are not fully aware of what's going on with Stephen, but she's living in it, and she's saddened that she did not notice the end stages of dementia before going shopping. She told them that she saw them recently and everybody was commenting her on her strength, but she told them that her strength characteristic is a face that she puts on every day just to make it. To keep her from breaking down in front of Stephen, she does all of her crying and screaming in the car. She said that she tells them that she is okay, but it's a lie. And when it finally came down to her about to crack up and just lose it, she went shopping, just like Stephen told her. And even though Stephen said that she must have put a lot of thought into the stores that she went into, she said that she didn't. She just charged the card in whatever store she entered. as she made it a point to get everything to fix up the basement first because she knew that's what Stephen wanted, and she wanted to do that for him even though the doctors didn't think he would make it home after all the seizures and collapsed lung. And even though Stephen had discussed bankruptcy, nothing was a done deal. And Stephen told her that she did not do a good job covering her tracks. And she told him that's because she wasn't trying to sneak. She's not a liar. She said that she was a nervous wreck thinking about all of those bills, but she rationalized it as a done deal since Stephen kept telling her to go shopping. But if she had been in her right mind, she would not have purchased anything. But during that time, it was like an intermittent escape. But reality set in, and it was back to her daily routine, which included getting in the car, crying all the way to work and back home, scared to go in the house because she didn't know if Stephen would still be alive, fighting with social services for food stamps and Medicaid, going to appointments, crying about Stephen's health, his immobility, his breakouts, his shrinking frame. He won't eat, gotta wear gloves to clean, BLOOD, stained sheets. Bills are piling up, creditors calling all day, driving to Brooklyn twice a month for his medication, still gotta work to make ends meet, and then leaving on, business trips, and that's scary because she don't want to leave him at home alone, can't go to church, so she has to watch services on TV. Stephen crying out for his mother. She still got to clean the wood stove, purchase coals, go to court because they got behind on paying a contractor, label all of Stephen's food, help him bathe, get him dressed, cry, and cry. Then it's rinse and repeat. She told them those are just a few things and a few emotions locked up behind that "I'm doing okay" facade. But she realized that she had two choices: deal or deny. And she's gonna deal. And she's taken all of the purchases back, and she asked for their forgiveness and told them that she loved them, and that was the end of her letter. When she told Stephen about the letter, he was flabbergasted that she sent letters to his uncles, sisters, cousins, and godmother. He told her, since you want to tell all the business, tell it all. And why do you only get to tell your side? He said that he had a side too. Out of everybody that she sent a letter to, Uncle Charles was the only one who called and said that he was praying for her, and he spoke life over her and the situation. And LaJoy said that meant a lot, and to this day, they are still friends. They still have a relationship. After being with LaJoyce for a little over a month, her brother Stevie was about to go back to Chicago. But before he left, he gave LaJoyce a protection tour in the house, if you know what I mean. He said that he saw Stephen hide one night in the office, and LaJoyce said that she kind of figured that Stephen had one in every room, and sure enough he did. So Stevie, her brother, put all the protection in different places and told LaJoyce to call him if she needed him. He walked to his car crying because he didn't want to leave his sister with her unhinged husband. 2 days later, LaJoyce felt good about her brother moving all the pieces of protection because Stephen came in one day and said that he thinks her brother was up in their house stealing. She asked him, why would you say that? What you think he took? Stephen wouldn't mention the protection, but she saw him checking the desk. She didn't bring it up. She didn't say nothing about her brother finding it, but she did go check all the spots that her brother put them in, and they were all still there. She never asked Stephen about it. Stephen never mentioned it. In the middle of the Pocono winter, Stephen left home and drove 3 hours to Long Island to his sister's house. And he told LaJoyce that he was going to stay with his sisters for 2 weeks because he needed to get away from her. He said it was because of what she did with the credit cards and the letter that she wrote to the family. So he just couldn't take looking at her another day. LaJoyce told him that he may not remember telling her to go shopping, but he did. And she had a list of people in the family and at the hospital who could vouch to the fact that he appeared to be lucid when he said it. Stephen got mad when she used the word lucid. He said, there you go again, using them big words. What does lucid even mean? LaJoyce told him, if you could take a 3-hour drive to Long Island, you can pick up a dictionary and figure it out. Just make sure your sisters take care of you the way I have. Stephen said they will, but LaJoyce doubted that very seriously, and she was trying to figure out when did they get close enough to even want him there, let alone take care of him. LaJoyce was starting to feel like Stephen was playing with her, cause when he was at home, he acted like he couldn't do nothing. So how is it that he took a 3-hour drive to Long Island by himself? Stephen even had the nerve to ask LaJoyce to bring him some of the things he would need when he went to visit Godmama Martha in California. Now listen here. If it was me, I would have been thinking, if you could drive for 3 hours, why didn't you just pack everything that you needed? Because I wouldn't be taking Stephen nothing. But anyway, LaJoyce said she would, since she had an event in Long Island with George Howard, who was one of her clients. When she got to the Westbury Music Fair and saw George, he immediately took her face in his hands and he told her, you can hide it over the phone, baby sis, but you can't hide it in front of me any longer. What is going on? He noticed that she had lost a lot of weight and he was worried. She said that she would tell him later, and George told her to stop playing with him and tell him now. George knew that Stephen was sick, but they told him the stomach cancer story. So she whispered the truth in his ear, and George immediately started crying, mostly in fear for her health, but she assured him that her weight loss was from stress only and that she was negative. After the event, LaJoyce took Stephen the items he needed for his trip, along with some groceries and herbal tea mixes that she made because she just didn't feel like the sisters had what he needed. And sure enough, when she looked in the fridge, there was really nothing in there for Stephen to eat. All they had for him was chocolate milk and bananas. Stephen, he still wasn't speaking to her, and even with his nasty attitude, LaJoyce still chose to uphold her marriage vows and be a wife. So she took care of Stephen. She gave him an egg facial because his face had broken out again, and she told him that she hoped that him and his sisters really patched things up this time. Before LaJoyce left to go back home, she told the sisters that she packed everything Stephen would need to take to California, along with his herbs, supplements, and an instruction sheet. They told her they would try to do it, but they ain't got time for all that. And she told Stephen that she loved him and would see him when he got back. He told her that he wasn't coming back. Like, how many times I gotta tell you, I'm going to Cali to DIE. As soon as he said it, LaJoyce had another flashback from the wedding when the sister said, he's your problem now. Don't send him back to our house. When LaJoyce made it home, she said there was an eerie feeling of peace. Stephen still refused to talk to her, so she didn't give him too much energy. She put her energy into finding a job because those bills were really piling up. She liked working with Patty, but she needed more money and benefits. Stephen made it to California. LaJoyce found that out 3 days after he'd been there. Godmama Martha called to let LaJoyce know and to tell her that she would take really good care of him. LaJoyce felt good hearing that because she knew Godmama Martha would make sure he was okay. While Stephen was gone, LaJoyce got back physically going to church and Bible study, and she said that it felt good to have a church family again. In April of 1995, her friend told her about an opening at Arista Records as a publicity manager in New York City. LaJoyce was so excited and very in need of that job that she didn't even ask how much the salary was. She set up her interview, then a few days later, she went to New York. During the interview, she had to tell them about her dying husband and let them know that when that time came, she would have to be there for him. The lady interviewing her completely understood, and she was very impressed that LaJoyce came straight from the airport to the interview. They offered her the position and told her that the salary was going to be $35,000. And LaJoy said that she almost fell out of her chair because at Bible study the week before, the pastor asked everybody to sow a $35 seed and then bring a purse or their wallet to be anointed, because some people will be blessed tenfold, some 100-fold, even 1,000-fold. LaJoyce took her $35 to the altar, then went back to get her bag so that the pastor could anoint it. Then 6 days later, she was blessed with her job, paying $35,000. Her job at Arista gave her the opportunity to be publicity manager for Big, Faith, Craig Mack, Sean Combs, 112, Total, Outkast, and Toni Braxton. Her first task at Arista was to plan a rap party for an upcoming DJ compilation CD. The position was fast-paced to the ninth power, but LaJoyce loved that type of work, and she needed the diversion. Her parents asked her to come visit one weekend because they felt like she needed to be alone with her family for a little while. And her mother called it grounding, like bringing LaJoyce back to the point of safety, her safe space. And while she was there, all she did was sit in her room and stare out the window. And her mom would just sit and talk and just praise God for keeping her. On Sunday before church, she felt the Holy Spirit telling her to stop by Gus's house to pray for his dad, who had recently gone blind. She went over and laid hands on him and spoke healing over him. Gus's mom told her that she had a surprise for her. Then she called Gus. LaJoyce asked if Gus and his wife were in town. Then Gus' dad yelled out that his boy wasn't washing no hair. LaJoyce sat there confused like, washing hair? What's going on? She remembered that Gus and his wife owned a salon in San Antonio, and it was plain to see that Daddy Brookshire was not too happy about that. Gus wasn't in his room at the hotel, so Mama Brookshire gave LaJoyce the number and told her to call him later on, and she said she would. And just like she promised, she called Gus when she made it back to the Poconos. He asked her, what did his parents tell her? And she said something about you not washing hair. He exhaled and said that he was getting a divorce because his wife had cheated with one of the employees' relatives. So he moved out and started going to trucking school in Dallas. LaJoyce said that she listened to his story for an hour, but she didn't mind because it felt good to be of support of someone else going through a difficult time. So then Gus asked her what's been going on with you. She didn't want to tell him, but Gus was her first best friend. So she went ahead and told him about Steven. He said that he already knew everything, which totally shocked her. He said that Stevie called him while he was visiting LaJoyce and Steven, and he asked Gus to come and help him get rid of Steven for all the pain he was putting his sister through. And all LaJoyce could think was, yeah, my family crazy. Gus said he spent about 2 hours trying to calm her brother down and told him that he would come if he would wait for him to get there. And it was just all in an attempt to try to get her brother to simmer down. Her and Gus stayed on the phone for about 3 hours, just praying and reading Bible verses. And it was a much needed peace for LaJoyce. On Friday, LaJoyce had a cold, so she decided to turn in early, but her dog Missy started barking at the door. When LaJoyce went to the door, it was Steven and his sister. Steven looked horrible. His face had broken out real bad. He was thin, shaking when he walked. LaJoyce told him that she had a cold, so she'd sleep in the guest room to keep Steven from catching the cold. Steven asked her, if you sleep in the guest room, where's my sister supposed to sleep? LaJoyce said, do you not remember that we have an office with a futon and a pull-out couch in the TV room? Let her take her pick. So LaJoyce walked off and went to bed in the guest room. Saturday morning came and LaJoyce was out of the house by 7 because she had errands to run before work. When she made it home that night, it was dark, like the house was completely dark. She said one of her usual prayers, which was, Lord, don't let him be in this house, DEAD. She went in the house and thankfully Stephen was still breathing. She noticed that he hadn't eaten or drunk anything all day because all the food containers that she labeled hadn't been touched. He complained about how cold he was, and when she checked his extremities, he was blue. So she took him to the emergency room and he stayed in the hospital for 3 days. His doctor was shocked that Stephen was even still alive. He said on paper, Stephen was technically DEAD already, and that it was just a matter of time. The doctor told LaJoyce that it seems like Stephen was hanging on to punish LaJoyce for some reason. LaJoyce thought that was an incredible evaluation from a doctor who only saw them once a month. But LaJoyce had been thinking that Stephen was punishing her because her test results were negative. He really thought that she was going to be positive and they were just going to ride out into the sunset and pass away together. So he was trying his best to make her life miserable while he waited to DIE. And that's the end of chapter 6, y'all. We only have 3 more chapters left. Are y'all enjoying this book? Let me know. Get down in the comments. Let's talk about it. And I'll talk to y'all later.